So Ryan, interesting trip down to Nottingham. It was quite a quiet arena, but it was quite a shock first period. Were you worried after that first there? I mean, it was a great comeback of sorts, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously a little bit of deja vu of 2 years ago when we went there, but no, it was the first 10 we looked a bit sluggish and slow, and it was a long day. That's not an excuse. Everybody travels the day of games, and we wanted to get out of that first period even or better. It's our goal on the road everywhere, and for the first 10 we did okay. They got a power play goal and that was fine, and then a bit of an icing call we thought was going to be an icing, and Foley comes out, loses his stick, and kind of whatever could go wrong went wrong in the span of 4 seconds, and it was 2-0. And guys lost their composure just a little bit, and then they kind of came wave on wave, some individual errors and some mistakes, and all of a sudden it's 4-0, and you're kind of going, oh, what happened here? But the mindset going in that we talked about was that it's one game of 6 periods. It's not 2 games. It means nothing right now. We're at the halftime point and it's 5-4. So we said at 4-0 we could still win every period and win the series, win the aggregate. So we wanted to change the mindset of the guys. So 4-0 when we went in, obviously we weren't happy. Yeah. But also we weren't panicking and we weren't throwing in the towel, and we just, we said a 4-2 score would be fine, and I would have taken that after the first, and we did that. We clawed away. We played better. I thought the last 40, I thought we had the better of the chances. I thought we started to skate more. We started to get our legs and play with a lot more energy and turn pucks over on the forecheck and something that we didn't do in the first. And then we got a power play goal that got us going. And then we scored another one right after and gave us some good life, 4-2. And this is a resilient bunch, and like when you think we're dead and gone, they come out of nowhere and we come back and we score by committee. We don't rely on one guy, and we did that last night. I think with 9 minutes left in the third, we went down 5-2, and most teams would have felt that was it. That was probably the nail in the coffin. And then our captain comes back, from a defensive zone faceoff, takes a play at the end of his shift, goes in. He scores one just inside their blue line, a great shot, great play. I believe it might have been Levy who made the play with him. And then now we're back 5-3, and then we get 5-4, and it felt good leaving. For losing, it felt good leaving that rink. Obviously, you want to win every game, but we still haven't finished a game here, and that's our mindset. We're at the halfway mark.
Do you think it's interesting, that whole mindset, as you're saying there, of the aggregate score? It's a very European idea as opposed to North American, isn't it? And I've got memories, of course, of last year against Hull in the playoffs. There was a moment really where Clan could have gone 4-1 to the good, and Hull come back and it's 3-2 heading into the next game. Do you think, obviously you've got all that experience of being in the Elite League, you've got all the experience for this playoffs, and how do you get that across to the guys, this aggregate score thing? Did you really hammer that home beforehand?
Yeah, because I think obviously it hurt us last year. I mean, we didn't finish the job in Coventry, and then we let Hull score late on a 5-on-3 at home, and then we would have gone with a 2-goal lead. Instead, we went with a 1-goal lead, and that made a huge difference. So it's just the mindset of these games are never over, and like we said, you can go down 4-5-0. It doesn't matter. You still have 5 periods. It's not that you lose this game and you start it. You have 5 more periods, and if you can take over those 5 periods, you'll probably win. So at 4-0 down, obviously it was a bit tough, and we got out of that period and were able to regroup, and like I said, I felt we responded well, and we didn't need to win the game. There is no game. That was our mindset. There is no game to win. We just need to tighten it up here. We need to close the score down, and then when we go into period 4, we got a chance to win, and that's what we did. It wasn't we need to press and win this game. We need to activate our D-man. We need to expose our goalie. We didn't need to do that. Our guys were asking, do you want us to jump? And we said, no, let's just keep it going here. If we make it 4-3 or 4-2, 5-3, that's fine. We still have 3 periods here to go after it. And I like it. I like that mindset. And I think it's a bit easier for the guys to kind of understand that. But, it's an exciting, it's tough to kind of analyze for new guys. It's weird, and you've never ever done that. You've never had a street hockey game where you've done an aggregate score. So it's it's definitely a football mentality thing, but it's also, we said you have to adapt to it, and because that's the way we do with playoffs here, and it's whether you like it or not, you got to own it and accept it. And I think the guys did a great job, and like I said, we walked out of there, and obviously you're never happy when you lose, or you're never happy to be down, but we're okay. We got good mindset, and we realize we put ourselves behind the 8 ball, but we battled back, and now we kind of table it, and we'll pick it back up next week after Sunday's game.
Of course, isn't that a really interesting? You're kind of halfway through a game there, and it sets up a really interesting game on Wednesday. Hopefully the fans will come out in good numbers, even midweek, and have a real kind of exciting playoff mentality for that. But you've got a weekend of games right in the middle of it. You've got a home game still against Dundee, and you've got a trip to a team in Edinburgh that are, well, there's some oddities going on there, isn't it? It's a team that are really in a bit of turmoil as well at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they picked up another guy, and I think teams like that are scary to play because, so you lose guys and you think, oh, this is devastating, and then all of a sudden other guys step up and maybe the room improves, and that could be happening in Edinburgh with Emo's team. In tough times, teams can really bond and can play good hockey, and I've seen it. I've seen it in lots of teams, and they're a little bit low on numbers, and guys that if you can handle the minutes and you're playing a lot, they're typically playing better. So there's a lot of onus on the visiting team to make sure that you're not falling into that trap or that pond hockey thing. You got to make sure you want them to play a structured game. You want to make life miserable, but it certainly isn't a case of we show up, we're the Braehead clan, and we're going to win. I can tell you that right now, and teams will make that mistake against Edinburgh, but it certainly won't. From a preparation standpoint, it won't be the Braehead clan. So they're a scary team, and obviously they can beat anybody, and they have beat I think they have beat everybody, and we'll be ready to compete on Sunday.
Yeah, what are your views on that? Obviously, it's kind of it's not really the done thing in the Elite League previously for teams to have a player switch like that. And in Edinburgh's case, I mean, Emerson's come out, he's been fairly candid. He's not very happy about it. And you've got players who pretty much held him to ransom, just said, well, I'll just go to North America and you'll get nothing. What do you feel? You've got any opinions on that in the league?
I mean, from coaching standpoint and from that, I don't like it because you're not always going to keep every player happy, and situations arise on every team. And
do you feel it's all right for the teams to do that to offer? Belfast have come in there and Steelers have come in there and they've went, well, we'll give you a little bit of money and we'll take these players, the better players on the team, arguably. Do you feel like there should be something maybe done to kind of stamp that out? I'm putting you right in the spot here for your midweek interview, aren't I?
I don't agree with it. We're certainly not doing it. My ownership doesn't agree with it. It starts a slippery slope for the league. And owners want to win, and you get that. They want to win, and they'll do whatever. But when it's the way the league's run like this, it can make it tough. I think a lot should fall on coaches and their recruitment and picking up guys around the league. And I think that good coaches, you find players in desperate times. And if we're just going to allow to start picking off players that are thrown in 2-week notices and just jumping down the M1, I don't know. I'm not a fan of it, just because I can foresee it being a very, very tough, and very tough for teams like Braehead who won't do it. And we haven't fired a guy. You look at 3 years, we don't make a lot of player changes. We've been, and we say that, and we bond by that in our dressing room, is that we've had the same group since we've gone to Sweden. Yeah. We've had the same guys. We've rolled with the same group, and we've gone through turmoil. We've gone through ups and downs. We fought as a family, but we're all still here. And I think it says a lot for our group and for our, even our ownership. And that doesn't mean that we aren't maybe possibly looking at adding depth, because we have stayed fairly injury free. And, we owe it to ourselves and our fan base, and to make sure that we are playing at full strength whenever possible. You look at the Holt situation, we brought in fully, and that's a fantastic thing going on now. And, and I think, it's going to provide competition once Chris is fully fit. He's probably still 10 to 2 weeks away, and that's great. You want competition, and like I said, we are probably looking to add some depth, just some injury coverage just in case, because you can have one bad night and lose 2-3 guys. Yeah. It does happens all the time. So it's but it's saying that it's the same group we started with, and there's a lot to be said for that. As an organization and as a player. You like that. You like guys that stand by you and stick by players, and through good times and bad times, and I think we're seeing the benefit now from our group. We're seeing that this team wants to win, and they don't know when they're dead. They don't know. The problem is sometimes they don't know when they're in the lead. They think it's okay, but they want to win, and they understand it. They get it, and we're kind of that. We're through the kind of the stormy weather, and we're in that last 20 game here, and like we said, I said it. Why this is kind of our playoff mentality now. We want, especially for guys that haven't played in this format before. We kind of said, well, this is kind of our playoff. We don't have the 7-game series as guys are used to, and knocking teams out and then moving on. This is it. It's all about the league, and then when we get to that playoffs, it's much like how we're going to treat the Challenge Cup. So, kind of broke it down into certain areas, but it's been fun. We've been rolling pretty good, and even last night, walking out of there was still a good feeling because we felt that we put ourselves in a good hole, but a big hole, and then we dug ourselves out like we always do, and we've given ourselves a chance here in a week, just under a week's time to advance. And then the league, we've played in some tough barns, and we've had some tough trips, and yeah, we have a good schedule, but there's a reason we have a good schedule. We played a month on the road at the start of the year, and we deserve to have a good schedule. It doesn't mean that you're just going to get points, but we have travel-wise, we have a great schedule.
Do you find that hard all of a sudden that we're starting to hear that around the league, that old thing, the kind of the conference advantage that Clan apparently have, and it's certain names around the league, shall we say, are starting to say that, and yet you've got like teams like Sheffield and Belfast taking players from this conference. From last season, some of the key players, they've jumped conference as well, and do you feel that advantage? I mean, no one kicks off at the start of the season, then all of a sudden they just suddenly see the position, it all comes out again. No one kicks off at the start, do they? Yeah,
like I said, Braehead, they want the conference system. The big teams want it. If you want it, don't complain about it. And there's nothing we can do. I
often feel they kind of miss out the point that Steelers get a lot of money from the teams that they play. They love playing those teams. They get to play Nottingham more. That's more money for all their players, and that's an advantage for every game.
We get it from the business standpoint, but for the Braehead clan, and we don't care what conference we're in. We don't fear going to Cardiff.
Yeah. We
don't fear going anywhere. We don't fear these teams. And this year we've done probably better on that side than we have this side. Yeah. So and it would be great if they leveled it out so we never have to hear it again, because it's not something we've asked for. It's not something that we're like rely on. And at the same time, it's not like teams are coming into Edinburgh. It's not like Sheffield came into Edinburgh and just smoked them every game and went, geez, that was easy. Yeah. Thank God Braehead gets to play those guys every game. Well, we wouldn't have any points. Yeah. So it is. You get it. I mean, it is. You got the Belfast and the Nottingham stuff, but at the end of the day, when you compare them and you compare the points that teams are taking off everyone, the stats don't add up. Yeah. But it is.
People feel like if you looked at those fixtures, you would take our fixtures now. Yeah, you still would take the run-in that we have over, say, Steelers or Nottingham's run-in.
Yeah, I mean, every team can beat every team, so it still, at the end of the day, you can't just show up and you win because of the jersey you're wearing, and then that's the worst attitude you can have, and especially this year we've seen it. But yeah, our run, we got a lot of home games, but spent a month on the road at the start of the year. Things didn't go great at the start of the year. Nobody cared about Braehead when we were sitting in 7th and 8th, and everybody's writing us off and this and that, and nobody cared. It wasn't a big deal, what Braehead or this and that. We looked at it, sat down. I remember sitting down 3 months ago and talking to Ronnie Nickel and going through schedules and where teams had played. Nottingham started 10 games at home, and get out. So, like I said, it isn't. It is a marathon, and that's the way you got to look at it. And I think being in this league for a while allows you to kind of look at it and look past what's really going on and where you are. And we haven't done anything. We're sitting in 3rd place. We have a lot of hockey left. We're enjoying playing hockey right now. The team's buzzing. We got some confidence within our game and within our systems, and but we're also struggling. Our power play is probably the worst it's been I've ever seen, and we're trying to get that going. We're trying to find ways, and but we are finding ways to win. Usually, if your power play isn't clicking, you aren't winning. We're scoring a lot of 5-on-5 goals, and we're getting tons of scoring from everyone. We're not relying on anyone any given night. We don't have a first line. We don't have a third line because they all compete every night. So it is. It's been a frustrating group to coach, but they're a good group of guys and they want to win, and that's all you can ask. And we, like everybody, we go through ups and downs, and we fight, and families fight, but they want to win, and I'll protect them, and I've protected them all year because of that, because it is a group. When you have a group that wants to win, you'll work with them every day, and you don't give up on them because things didn't go well on a Saturday night.
Yeah.
You don't give up on them like, some people think you should. You get through it, and you dig in, and you go. I mean, it's funny when you look at last night, you get a 7-hour bus trip home, you got some time, and you look at comments out when we're going 4-0 down. And you look at and you get some, and with social media, you can look at comments, and all I can think about is, God, I'd hate to be in the trenches with this guy. 4-0 down. Oh, we're done. Yeah, we're done. This is embarrassing. And when you're thinking like, holy crap! All of a sudden, the same guy's like, oh, we're back, and you're kind of going, you're back. We haven't left.
Well, you can really see a difference not a difference. You can really, it's obvious how much the players are enjoying it at the end of games. I think it's there for the fans to see they're enjoying their hockey now. The camaraderie is there. And do you feel that really is because you've kept this team together, and that's starting to pay dividends, and they've come through some very tough times? Yeah,
I think, and I think just the fact that, there's no question when we weren't playing good, guys were worried about their jobs, and guys were scared that, we were making changes. Other teams that were making changes constantly and have continued to make changes, and I think it can have a positive impact on some, but for the most part, guys don't play well under that regime, and it gets in that mindset, and we just winning solves that. Winning trumps everything, or no matter what's going on, and when you're not winning, life is hard when you're a hockey player. Everything is tough, and when you start winning, things just kind of take care of themselves, and when you can get on a bit of a roll and momentum, and the biggest thing is when you do this is if you do have a setback, it's not going down the mountain, it's what it is. It's a tiny little setback, and you got to pick yourselves up on that Sunday morning and travel to Manchester or travel to Cardiff and find a way to win, and that's what we've done this year, and we're a resilient bunch. We don't feel sorry for ourselves. We don't kick dust, and we get up and we fight the next day, and they've been resilient. Like everybody's going to go through a tough time, and it's just about how you can respond. And this team, I think, has responded the best of any group I've ever coached. Last year we had a great group. We never really went through a tough time. We had a couple losses here or there, but it was such a tight league last year that 1 goal margin was ultimately the biggest difference from being a disappointing year to a great year. So it's a funny league that way, and you gotta embrace it. You gotta love it. And it's gonna be a great race to the end again. As you can see, nobody's out of it. I find it funny when one team loses and everybody goes, they're done. Yeah. Only 18 games left, 2 points out, they're done. And that's the mentality. And you're thinking like, it's the same with us. We're running great. We lose a couple games, we're not done. It's not the end of the world. There's a lot of twists and turns to come here, and but we're enjoying hockey right now, and we certainly hope the fans can see that, and we find ways to win, and we're hoping to get the support in the second half, and get have our fans get behind us, and as we push on, because that's what we are. We are a mid-budget team playing for competing all the time at the top. That's what we are. We're not poor by any means, but we're not a Sheffield, Belfast, Nottingham, Cardiff with 17, 18. We're just not. We don't have that budget. So it's nice to keep the same team that you have. Making changes isn't always the best thing to do. And so it is good, and I think it is paying dividends right now. And you can tell the guys are enjoying playing hockey. They enjoy being at the rink, and that mindset probably changed, within the last kind of month. Yeah. Since Christmas period kind of thing rolling into now. So it's been fun, and we get back to practice tomorrow, Friday morning, and prepare for another tough weekend. And Dundee's playing good, and a new goalie. We always hate playing new goalies at first game. They always come in and shut the door, so we'll have to be prepared for that.
And also you've got Holt back, you've got an interesting fixture, obviously still in the cup, still in all the competition, so good luck with that fight. But this weekend is also Robbie Burns weekend, a special weekend, Scotland's national poet. Will you be wearing a kilt at the game?
I don't know.
That looks like a yes. I'd say.
I don't know what the rules are on that. I just feel like I'd be as a Canadian. I don't think I belong in a kilt. I wouldn't represent it that way.
You're part of the clan now. You're in the clan.
Yeah. We got
your family tartan.
My own clan now. That's true. Yeah. No. I mean, I've kind of looked up, and that does mean a lot to Scottish people and the community. Is the Robbie Burns night, right? Yeah.
Robbie Burns.
Robbie Burns. Yeah. That's I was gonna say. I didn't say that right, but yeah. No, it'll be exciting, and like I said, I'm hoping we get a good crowd because Dundee's. We've had good games against them too, and we're hoping. We get a good crowd there to support us and get behind us here for the last kind of couple months of push.
I think you're kind of dodging the kilt question there. We'll maybe throw this interview out there and see if people think that the head coach should be wearing a kilt at the game. Ryan, I've dropped you in it. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers. Thanks. Cheers.